Hello, welcome back to Ones of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Phil, of course. I'm joined as usual by Dave and George, and for once we do actually have an episode. We are back. We apologise for our previous episode not going live. However, there was no news. I mean, George will tell you in a second. We'll do the schedule for this week's episode. Like, right, we have our stuff from 2 weeks ago we didn't talk about. There was 3 items. But, however, we are back this evening. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you all doing?
I am well, thanks to you.
Yeah, very, very well. It's nice to see you. Like, there was just so little to talk about. It would have been a 2-minute episode of us saying hi and goodbye. So little point in coming on. So, yeah, it's nice to be back on.
And in the last 2 weeks, we've had tons.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was very typical that we went to do our episode. We had a sit-down chat, all 3 of us going, right, there is really nothing to talk about. Shall we do an episode? Shall we not do an episode? It'll be 10 minutes. If that, okay, we won't do it. And then all the news started rolling in afterwards. It was a rather typical nonsense way of doing things. However, we rolled all into one episode tonight, and there is quite a chunk now to talk about.
Definitely. And I'd say first up, we have the biggest stuff. I mean, let's just go into episode 9. There's been a couple of casting announcements, which has caused quite the fandom crossovers. We'll naturally start with the biggest one. Matt Smith, you know, that Doctor. Not David Tennant, not Chris Eccleston, not Peter Capaldi, the other one. He has been cast.
My favourite of the new Doctors, must admit, actually.
Huh? Is he your favourite?
Of the new Doctors? Yeah, of the new Doctors, yeah.
You poor child. I would say it's showing my age, but you're older than me.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they said he's going to be in a key role, and he actually has the look of Star Wars. He looks like he could be a First Order general, gets killed by Kylo Ren, regenerates into Peter Capaldi, then Malcolm Tucker controls the galaxy.
No.
There's your episode 9. Malcolm Tucker. If you don't know who he is, just Google Malcolm Tucker insults.
We will not be revealing too much of him on this channel. You know, Aye, but that's not only the only crossover that's happening though.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you can play the same character you played in Terminator Genesis, where you can just turn up, stab somebody, and then never be spoken of again.
Do you remember? Did everyone ever see the Terminator Genesis photo shoot? They had Matt Smith over all of the. It was the most awful photo shoot you've ever seen. And it's just a picture of him with a flamethrower pointing at the camera like that. And someone tweeted last night, goes first image from Star Wars Episode 9. I'm quite intrigued.
Yeah, I was going to say that's it. I do really like Doctor Who. David Tennant's still best Doctor. But this is it's a really nice casting call, but it's very hard to hope he gets a decent role in this and that he's played well, because people will still see Doctor Who when he comes on screen and he's in space, and it will be difficult, I think, for some people to kind of step back from that. So it'll be really interesting to see what.
Yeah, it's kind of like another Aid Edmondson moment of, it's that's what you see. It's just, holy crap, it's Aid Edmondson. It takes you out of him, hoping that won't be the case. You never know. It could be in a mask, could be in a helmet.
It could be Prince Philip in space as well.
I want to see this Prince Philip in space movie.
I mean, when was the last time anyone saw Prince Philip? Right. There we go. He's actually in space.
So that's what he's been.
He's the actual real life emperor.
No, he's Snoke. The theory is now confirmed. Prince Philip was Snoke, and he has been killed.
It's very intriguing, because I think the main thing is it's a key role, but it wasn't in the original press release.
Yeah,
which indicates that they were still casting and they wanted to not say anything. I mean, it's technically not even official yet, but this is everywhere last night, just like Kerry Russell was, and then they had to formally announce her. So I think, I mean, the thing is, someone said, is he good or bad? Well, he could fit into either category.
I'd love to see him in the bad guy role. I really would. I think
I'd love to see him in the more First Order role.
He could be an unhinged general, something like that. Or someone said a Knight of Ren, if they really wanted to. Will they come up? We don't know.
Well, they always say they cast British people as bad guys in Star Wars. You should know that's how it works.
For him to be
John Boyega.
Yeah, I mean...
But then they changed his accent, so he's not...
I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen any of the leaked pictures yet.
No, I've stayed away from them, to be honest.
I don't know if we're going to mention. I don't know if we're going to. I mean, it's not in our schedule to talk about, but
we can't. I have seen some images, and for that were shared on Facebook, out of my control and out of our jurisdiction. We will not be sharing them for obvious legal reasons. But yes, there are some leaked images of characters in costumes.
I have not seen them. I tend to stay away from stuff like this.
To be honest, the only reason I even mentioned it and talking about Matt Smith being a role in the First Order was to think then how far in advance we're going from where Last Jedi finished to how many years we're going into the future storyline. And I only say it because in the leaked image that appeared on Facebook, you can see it if you want to go search for it. John Boyega is in his jacket that Poe gave him, but it looks very old. It looks really, really aged. And that just made me curious as to whether, it just gave me an idea at the time, whether that means Matt Smith will have come in and he'll have worked his way up in the First Order. Or if that's even his role, I mean, he could just look after horses on a casino planet.
Everyone says Thrawn every time someone's cast.
Thrawn it must be Thrawn.
But I don't want it to be him, but he looks like he could actually.
No,
he has that face, but he's too nice and too soppy.
Thrawn is already Lars Mikkelsen. I'm sorry, but he has just made that role his own.
Sorry, I just checked the Star Wars show. We have officially announced Dominic Monaghan as well. I know that's our next bit of news.
Yep.
Nothing official on Matt Smith yet, but Dominic Monaghan officially announced today. Yeah, back to Thrawn. I don't want it to happen. Everyone just says it. They said it with sorry, I forgot his name. Richard E. Grant as well. Yeah. Everyone said it's Thrawn. I was like, no, it's not. And every time someone's cast Benedict, I think one rumor years ago that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to play Thrawn in Star Wars, and I was like, well, no, he won't, and no, he didn't.
I think it's actually come out as officially has said that it's come out that he's not playing Thrawn. It's I think because the rumor was growing so much, it actually came out somewhere. I'm sure I saw on Twitter that was like, he's not playing Thrawn. That's not the role. I don't think we'll see Thrawn in this movie
Lars
at all.
Mikkelsen has made Thrawn his own. I don't know how else you do it anymore. I mean, he has taken that character and just brought it to such a level that I don't know if I'd accept someone doing it in live action.
It would be a strange one, but then again, Maul came back, although it only a hologram in Solo, but he came back as pretty much the character from as we knew him in Rebels. Really, he came back, end of Clone Wars, Rebels was that version that we got in live action.
Still really Park.
In the face, but it was still
but Sam Witwer, not Peter Sarah.
Yeah,
that's the one.
So I mean, there was elements. So who knows if he will show up? I mean, they've got to be building something now. Actually, I'll talk about the interesting point I was going to go to. Not probably that interesting, to be honest. When we get to the Resistance stuff, but yeah. So I think it'd be interesting to see Matt Smith in the Star Wars movie. It's nice. It's kind of like the Harry Potter franchise, where there was a lot of British actors who were waiting just to get added in roles in this, and with Star Wars being shot primarily in the UK, I think you do find that a lot of British actors are kind of lined up waiting for their role to be just I'll do something in Star Wars.
I mean, look at Daniel Craig's cameo. He was filming Bond. He basically turned up and says, can I do something? But you can't blame him, and he was actually. I mean, I knew it was him straight away, but it was actually a bigger role than you think it would be. But I mean, with the new series, everyone's got Easter eggs. They're in there somewhere. All JJ's mates. I mean, that leads on to the next one. That if they know someone, they're likely going to be cast on it, especially if they're mates to the director. And moving on to Dominic Monaghan, who people may know from Lord of the Rings. I can't remember what Hobbit he plays because they all look the same.
He's probably one of them that walked somewhere.
Yeah, he was Merry.
Merry. Which one was that?
Walked somewhere with
some ring. It wasn't the one that was Pippin. Who
was Pippin?
Did they walk?
So many names.
That was literally that Lord of the Rings for me. Is where should we walk to? Oh, over there. Okay.
It's a 12-hour, $200 million production budget of a tour of New Zealand.
Yeah,
it's like, do you want to come to New Zealand? This is why, and it's just them walking across mountains.
Absolutely beautiful.
And it's like you must watch the 4-hour extended cuts. You must watch the extended cut. We need more walking. Dominic Monaghan's been cast in Star Wars. He worked with JJ on Lost, and I don't think this has been said that isn't a big role or anything like that. To me, he looks like it's going to be the kind of JJ's mate cameo type thing. I think it could be a pilot, a very minor role. I don't imagine him at all.
Pig style role, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's probably in for a couple of scenes. He's either hidden or he's there. Similar to Greg Grunberg, who was obviously snapped back. So he had a couple of scenes because he's mates with JJ. It's like he likes to do it, bring his mates in. I think Evangeline Lilly said she tried to get into episode 7 but never could because JJ didn't have a role for her. At the end of the day, I think we'd all do it if anyone of us knew anyone that worked on it, would make sure we get put on it.
I was listening to a podcast called The Ralph Report with a guy called Ralph Garman, an American comedian who does some podcasts I listen to with Kevin Smith, things like that. But he was interviewing Greg Grunberg, and literally Greg Grunberg says, look, when JJ gets a film, I'm just very forthright with people. I'll just put him and say, so what's my role? No actual, and he literally just goes straight in. He said he's not shy. He'll just literally go in and say, right, what's my role? No waiting to be asked. So I'm guessing as soon as he heard JJ had episode 9 again, that was the first thing he did. Like, I'm back, right? Okay, thanks.
I mean,
pretty much.
He's been officially cast this week. However, at Wales Comic Con, he decided to tell me
back in April. Yeah, we've known for quite a while.
I'm not saying anything. He's literally, I got off the phone with JJ this week. I'm coming back, and he's like, so with the others. And then obviously when they announced that comic, this is what happened to this squad during episode 8. It kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, they're all coming back. They didn't want to kill those ones. So I don't mind that. It's nice to get a bit of familiarity, having the same sort of character supporting roles across multiple films. It'd be quite weird not seeing him at 8 because you kind of have your Wedge Antilles characters 7, 8, not 4, 5, 6. Sorry, we are going to get a 7, 8, 9 of a minor supporting role. Not too fussed about that, but it'll just be a nice bit of continuity. But yeah, JJ's mates. If you get in with JJ Abrams, you got a good time. And it's like all the directors. All the directors are best mates with each other. They just give each other cameos.
It really is. I mean,
we had we had 2 directors that got fired, but another director that got put aside for reshoots in Solo.
It just comes up so much, and I think these cameos are great. I'm glad some of them don't make it. The Tom Hardy one, especially after watching that scene, it's awful. God, yeah, so I'm glad that
fun, but it didn't fit the film.
It's just awful. The acting, and it's terrible.
It didn't even. It's like Tom Hardy put another weird voice on. Like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, like Daniel Craig's worked because he sounded like a stormtrooper, but Tom Hardy's was so out of place. Yeah. And if Tom Hardy's gonna be in Star Wars, I'd rather it was actually like an important role. Just like Christian Bale was very almost Tobias Beckett.
Yes, he was.
I'd have paid so much money to have had a leaked video of set of him just screaming and shouting.
Good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Imagine they got it wrong around Christian Bale. That's still one of my favourite. I don't feel bad for the person who was shouting it either because it's just so funny.
It's a great clip. I'm so glad it got out in the world.
Right, another bit of episode 9. The last bit of episode 9. There's a very big rumour that episode 9 will wrap in February. A very big rumour that it's going to wrap at some point. So I'm not surprised. Is anyone surprised?
I'm not surprised. Considering how long production takes, it's like, yeah, it makes sense.
He gives them 10 months on post-production as well, which they'll already be working on anyway. Yeah. And gives them 2 months to get a trailer out Celebration 2, which is very easy to do. But it'll be... I'm very intrigued to see their plan for this. I think because of the backlash of episode 8, I think there will be changes made and adjusted for the film. But I'm intrigued to see where it goes because... If anything, this film has more of a clean slate than Episode 7 did. Yeah. In Episode 7, you had to adjust returning characters and create new characters, create the First Order, the Resistance, all of that. Episode 9 is literally, we have the First Order and the Resistance have a fight. That is literally what they can go in with. They're not tied into older characters and whatnot in their story arcs, like how Episode 7 had the cliffhanger with Luke. This is literally, you can go in.
The only one they have to dress as Leia.
Yes, of course, with the Leia stuff. But in terms of the overall story, it's they're so free compared to what they have been in the past.
I think you're right. For all the complaints about episode 9 that people have, you're right. This is going to be JJ can come in and say, how can he correct all this stuff? But you're right. He's got such a end point to that last film where he's got that. He can just write what he really wants to. He doesn't have to then take off anything from The Last Jedi other than Luke's now gone. Rey is pretty much a Jedi. And they're all reunited and they're moving on now, and that's why again I wondered how far down the timeline we get. in this movie to see if it's going to just be a few years or if it's going to be quite a number of years since the happenings of The Last Jedi. I'm really interested to find that out. And you're right, JJ's got this brilliant point where he could write the script he probably wanted to. He could probably he may have lost some of the stuff that if he'd done the whole trilogy, he may have lost some elements to that. But he's probably been going to go, right, this is exactly where I've got to know exactly where I am, and I can still get my story to finish probably very similar to the way he wanted it to end when he wrote episode 7.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there will have been some changes because of what Ryan did in episode 8, but he'll have the majority of what he wanted. He did help create the story for episode 8, so he still had some control, and hopefully there are a few things to wrap up. And the thing we always have to remember with 8 is the middle point. The middle never looks good until you see the end. The beginning's the beginning, the end is the end. The middle is it's fleshing things out, but until you see that end point, you can't really judge the middle. So that's why I'm looking for scene 9 to then look back at 8 and actually add everything together and see where that timeline goes. And as you said, it's going to be interesting to see how far down the rabbit hole we go in terms of the timeline. How far is it? Weeks, months, years? If so, how many years? Is the First Order fully established as the dominant force? Is it a half and half? I mean, is it another civil war period? There's so much scope as to where they can go that, as you said, it's such more of a clean slate. 7 had to address returning characters, establishing new characters. 8 had to give them a good jumping off point for 9, had to give them the conflict. Whether it was done the best way or not, we'll judge after we see everything as a whole. But 9 has that clean slate, and like you guys, I'm very much looking forward to seeing where they go with that. But on the other side of things, on the TV show side of things, we've had a report that it's got $100 million budget for 10 episodes. So you're talking $10 million per episode, which would be one of the most expensive shows of all time. It's up there with Game of Thrones, with some of the Sky Atlantic stuff and HBO stuff. It's properly up there. But I think being Star Wars, you kind of need to have a budget on that scale.
Yeah, especially for live action. I think what Game of Thrones has done is, okay, you've had these great dramas in the past that can be expensive, stuff like The Wire, Band of Brothers. But what Game of Thrones has done, it's been a continuation series as such, that because it's got bigger each year, the budget's gone up each year, and it's in its own category of TV, and it's redefined what you can do on the small screen. You've had these quality shows like Breaking Bad and whatnot, but they're dramas, they're fine. But you've never had the sort of the film budget that Game of Thrones has on TV, sorry. And I think now, with especially the Lord of the Rings TV show that's going to be coming out, and the Star Wars one there, Lucasfilm can sit back and say, you know what, let's just pump some money in, and it gives you 10 hours of content. And okay, it might not look like a film, but it might. You never know. But 100 mil is a very good budget for a 10-hour show, especially when you think about how they're going to build sets and repetitive locations and whatnot. It's very accomplishable, I think, to do a good Star Wars film in 100 mil, or TV show, sorry, in 100 mil. For 10 episodes as well. And Disney probably started thinking, think of all the subscribers we're going to get for the new subscription thing when it launches.
It's a great pull for the service, it really is.
And Clone Wars, as well as a live-action TV show. It's like, let's not just give them one, let's give them 2.
Yeah. And you're getting, the audience are crying out, the audience is certainly crying out for the Clone Wars. That's people's buy, and they're going to sell so many just on that alone. I'm really excited for this TV series. There's been rumors around what it's about and things, and it has been rumored that it's going to be surrounded around Mandalore, but I don't know if that's just people taking because Jon Favreau played in Clone Wars the leader of the...
Oh, he played...
I can't remember his name. Literally, I am terrible with names, so I do apologize anyone watching or listening to this. I am terrible with names, but he played the guy in the Clone Wars. So I don't know if people are just taking that because he played a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's where he wants to take this, but wherever he goes, a 100 million TV show for Star Wars. Do we go? 13, the game was all cancelled and things like that, and that was then looking. I think they were trying to build that. They were talking about live action TV Star Wars series back when episode 1, 2, and 3 were being shot. This was always something they were kind of in the background talking about, and that was very much the underworld of Coruscant is what they were kind of looking at, and bounty hunters, and who knows, maybe we'll go back there. I don't know. It's really, really interesting. I can't wait. I'll be the Disney app will be. I will have to have it. It's just not something I could just bypass. It's something I'll need.
correct. I mean, yeah, he played Pre Vizsla in.
Thank you.
Again, it's like kind of linked with Sabina and all the rest of it. It would be interesting if they did Mandalore. It is one of those areas that a lot of fans want to see, and it's one that has a lot of scope in it. The Siege of Mandalore will be covered in the Clone Wars, but again, there's so much scope in that time frame that they could legitimately do a show just on Mandalore. But I don't think it will be a pure Mandalorian, unless they do one series set on Mandalore, one series set on Ryloth, one series set, like they go from place to place, do a cover a story from each one. But again, there's a lot of scope. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll do that. But there's so many. I mean, they could have Greg Gumbel get it and do Phantom Squadron and cover Wedge coming back, because Wedge was. Dennis Dawson was asked to come back to play Wedge in episode 7. He declined. I think to his detriment, actually. I think it would have been nice to have Wedge in there. But he's in the books, so there is, and the comics, there is scope for Wedge to come back, maybe through this, do Phantom Squadron, depending where they set it in the timeline. And that's the thing, being where it's currently set as well, saying it happens after Jedi, isn't it?
It's set just after Endor. It's not long after Endor, I believe.
Yeah, so you have that timeline.
Was it 3 years?
Something like that. There was a rumor that'd be very close to the Battle of Endor. Not
exactly. So you have Wedge setting up Phantom Squadron. You have the New Republic in its beginning era. There's so much scope for them to look at. The founding of the First Order, how they can go through that, how democracy re-establishing itself, the fall of the Empire in its totality, getting rid of Massamida on Coruscant. I mean, how they managed to get everything set up in Chandrila. Just there's so much scope for them to look at that it's going to be very interesting to see. And for 10 million per episode, you can have the grand sets, you can have a big finale, you can have your smaller episodes, but there's so much. Yeah, the 100 million, although it's a lot, 10 million per episode isn't extravagant. It's what's needed for Star Wars, though, to sell Star Wars and it to be as in depth as the universe has come to be expected. Going from a film into a TV show, I think that budget is definitely necessitated.
Georgia,
I'm intrigued to see what I don't want Mandalore. I mean, I'm not against it, but Mandalore seems too much of the fanboys' demand that we've not had live action Mandalore, so we need live action Mandalore. I just want something completely incredible. I don't know what I want. Just get that budget, invest it wisely, and which I think they will do. But it's hard to sort of see what you want until they tell you what the plans are. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
It's like Lord of the Rings. I'm not into Lord of the Rings enough. But when they said, "Oh yeah, this TV show might be about young Aragorn," all these Lord of the Rings fans are going mad because they don't need that story. That's something they didn't want to tell for 400 mil. This you got 100 mil. You can either do something new in a familiar setting, like Rebels. The concept of Rebels would have worked great as a live-action TV series. I'm not saying do that, but because it was in an era that we knew and introducing new characters and new things, I'd like something like that. With it being post-episode 7, there is potential elsewhere in the galaxy. Now, whether they do want to go one step further, have Ezra, Ahsoka, stuff like that, personally, that I would want that. But if you look at the time period set from, obviously, when Rebels finished, it actually seems like that window after the Battle of Endor. So you never know, but I'm very intrigued to see what their plans are. But I trust Jon Favreau. I think he's done an exceptional job with Jungle Book. Obviously, he's working on Lion King now. So I think once July comes next year and he's finished and wrapped Lion King, he'll be... I mean, he's already working on Star Wars now, but with the Lion King stuff out of the way, he'll be able to go full-time flying through it. And I'm very excited to see what his plan is. And it's the first... You know, episode 7, that was the first comeback film. Rogue One, that was the first spin-off film. Rebels was the first animated show. There's no impact for them to fail a first live-action TV series under the Disney banner, and I think they're going to go all out for this.
Yeah, if they're going to do it, they're going to have to go full bore. There's no other way they can do it. But, however, speaking of TV shows, we had the first trailer for The Resistance. Now, this section is going to be interesting because I knew as soon as the trailer was going to drop, that's going to cause controversy here. George, we knew would be leaning far toward the hate side. You've got Dave in the middle, and you've got me on the other side going, I actually quite like it. And this has been almost tradition here at Ones of the Force. I'm leaning more towards the, I'll give it a shot. Dave in the middle going, I'll give it a shot. However, I'm not entirely certain. George is going, grumble, absent, grumble, absent.
No. I'm giving it a shot. I'm gonna watch it, but it's gonna be like, I don't know. I've never sat through Mamma Mia, have I? So I can't really go through that. But it's going to be like when you sit through something that you have to watch. But it's like La La Land.
Nope.
I had to sit through it because it was an Oscar-nominated film. That's the main one, and I wanted to clench my eyeballs out and like squash them, and my earlobes as well because I couldn't sing. With this, I slagged it off, and I know I was over the top. And I said, let's wait for the trailer first. And my God, did that trailer! It looks awful. There's absolutely nothing. I don't want to sound like that guy because I've liked everything Disney have done with Star Wars, so I've got the trust in this Dave Filoni, who you naturally give more trust to.
Well, I mean, you say Dave Filoni, it's a Dave Filoni idea, but he's not doing anything else. He's not anything else to do with it. He's literally. He came up with the actual initial idea, but he's handed it off. He's nothing to do with the actual.
Well then,
itself.
Further hopes have been crushed.
Sorry to do that to you. I mean, I saw the first trailer and I actually liked the first trailer. I did enjoy it. I thought it looked okay. The animation style, yes, it's different and it's that 3D mixed melded to look a bit like 2D, but not. And that was okay with me. It's all right. I don't mind that. And to be honest, the poster then came out yesterday. Yesterday. And then I was like, a bit okay. Wasn't overly keen at the poster. And then today was actually where I got my most off-put of what we've had so far. They give us a featurette on meeting the team that we're going to be looking at, our main characters. And they put it right out there on Front Street that this is going to be... They're putting this out for the younger audience, that this is not... They're not having any adventures in... They're far away from everything else that's going on, and it just... That put me off more than anything at the moment. It's... yeah.
The sad thing is that, I don't want to sound like a fanboy tears or like Last Jedi to it. I'm not, because I like Last Jedi. Star Wars is a kids format, and George Lucas said that, and I agree with the prequels, and I love that, and I get people hate the prequels. But this, the prequels didn't take you for a mug as a kid.
No.
With this, Rebels is a kids show, right? But it's got adult ideas, adult themes as well. Similar with Clone Wars, ideally it's for kids. This just looks like there's nothing. Like they just probably, I don't know the reasoning for this. It's like they watched that YouTube anime that someone did a year ago of the TIE Fighter, thought, wow, everyone's loved this. Let's do our own cheaper version of Star Wars anime, and it looks worse than I thought it would, because with anime, there's a certain gift to it that it looks like sort of comic book pages and whatnot. The animation style. This just looks really cheap. There's almost no detail into the images. They've wanted to say it's anime and it's animated in 2D and stuff, but it's really not. It doesn't look anything like that. It looks like that really cheap 6EM like CITV thing that you used to get when you were a kid.
Reboot. Was that what it was?
No, like cheap. I don't know. I just the characters seem uninteresting, boring. I don't know how on earth Oscar Isaac's come back for this.
I believe that would be called a contract.
Yeah.
Do you know the rest of the cast did the holiday special apart from Alec Guinness?
Do you think he signed on for a 3-picture deal and an animated kids show?
I would have thought he'd have to sign when he signed it in the 3-picture deal. That you did a 3-picture deal, but if we want you for animation, a lend a voice to, or a game, or this or that you're into that too.
Don't forget the other fan favorite, Captain Phasma, will be returning.
Well, you're the one that keeps giving her second chances.
I've given her too many second chances. I don't. There are no more chances for her.
Awful cheap version of Captain Phasma where you probably won't be able to see the reflections in the chrome. It will just be silver.
Yeah.
It will look cheaper than a Sharpie.
It's.
I'm sorry, but I've given this. I'm like I said, I will watch this. I will watch this show. We
will report on it, and it's nice that we've got this varying opinion that we have this spread. But it just I mean the fact it's all about them learning to fly and racing, and it just lost the I was in with the trailer, but the featurette has lost me. So I'm hoping they've got some other stuff coming out before it launches that might give me a bit more interest in it. But as I say, I'm not going to miss it. I will watch the episodes because I see everything that comes out. So I will be into this and give it the chance it deserves. I'm not going to just dismiss it.
And my other issue is that they announced this before Clone Wars. This is probably cheap. I mean, we knew that Clone Wars was so much more expensive than Rebels was. And I feel that they've kind of brought Clone Wars back and they wanted to do a cheaper show on the side to fill the gap. I mean, the other thing with this, they've said it's set 6 months before The Force Awakens. Are they all going to die before it then? Like, what's their game plan? Are they just going to magically fly off?
They haven't officially announced that timeline yet. This is the thing. So we're kind of cramming all our bit of news into one here. But first off, my opinion, I like the trailer. I like the feature a bit more, just seeing a bit more behind the characters. I don't have all the confidence in the world of it, I have to admit. Yes, Star Wars always was aimed at kids, including grown-up kids, and that's fine. But this is very much a kids show, so it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, how it goes, and how they handle some of the darker themes. I will still give it a watch, though. I like some of the style, but it's not Rebels, it's not Clone Wars, it's not something that I'm going, yes, please give me now on a plate, I will have it straight here. It's something that I'm willing to wait and see. I'll give it a watch. I like the look of it, but I'm very much on the understanding that I probably won't love it as much, or even love it at all. I like it as much as Rebels or Clone Wars. The poster's kind of cool. I like the look of it. I'm not enamored with it, but I do quite like it. But yes, this timeline, so 6 months before Force Awakens, this hasn't been officially confirmed, hasn't been officially announced, but it was someone, I'll let George go into it because he's the one that brought it to our attention. It was someone going into the website and having a look. So George, you can kind of take us through that part.
Yeah, so someone, I mean, I'm no computer expert, but you can go into coding on websites, search file formats within a certain website. So basically, when Star Wars on the data bank uploaded their first set of details on Resistance, someone basically went onto the coding and whatnot, and then they found the description that the synopsis will say 6 months before the events of The Force Awakens. That was hidden encoded, but it wasn't released onto the website yet. So I'm assuming they're going to wait for a better time to announce that. So it's set 6 months before via website coding. I'm not a techie; I couldn't code find out that stuff, but it's quite common. You get it quite a lot of sort of like football websites as well, film websites, news sites. But it's a very, I don't want to say interesting period, but you know, if you're going to have a fully sort of like kids TV show set 6 months before the first big film, it kind of makes, and knowing what's come after episode 8, that everyone's dead within 3 days, bar one squad, it just kind of makes me think that 6 months is a lot, even if it's just one season. That's a lot to introduce this new rookie kid pilot and have him playing around with everybody, and then the film's gonna have to happen. I don't know. It's something, again, I'm gonna watch, but at the minute I'm just holding on absolutely no hope whatsoever. I'm not invested. I'm not interested, and I think that is partially because of Clone Wars. That, you know, okay, they want Clone Wars to drop on the Disney app, but as soon as everybody saw the Clone Wars announcement, has anyone really spoke about Resistance since until like yesterday?
The positivity that came out of that Clone Wars announcement was probably the best thing to hit Star Wars since Episode 7 was announced. I've not seen anybody come out and say anything bad or negative that this is coming back. I've seen nothing positive. If you look on the actual official Star Wars YouTube page and go to the Resistance trailer, it has about 11,000 thumbs up where people have liked it, and I think it's about 83,000 thumbs down. It's the difference is massive, and I just think people don't. But I mean, it looks like, I mean, yes, you're going to get a lot of that coming off the bat of The Last Jedi and those boycott solo people and all of that, who I think will have gone online and made sure this is low. But to get that amount, 83,000 dislikes, is it's got to be ringing bells for somebody somewhere inside of Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite sad though, because, you know, it's not been, you know, we haven't had an episode yet, but I'm sorry, I'm just looking now on today's uploads on Lucasfilm, 32,000 views on Team Team Fireball.
Mm.
Does that sound like a Star Wars name? Like you've had like Rogue Squadron, you know, all of that, and Team Fireball.
As I say, they've come out and said.
Well, it is a race team. It's not exactly a squadron.
The top comment is, sorry, the top comment is, quote, "We set out to make a show for a younger audience." The reply, "Good luck with that."
Yeah, it just the fact that
you're not wrong, though, Dave. It's 11,000 likes and 88,000 dislikes on the trailer.
And on today's one, it's 2,300 likes, 1,910 dislikes.
So it's going to be close. I think it really is going to polarize people. It really is, and I think with it being them coming out and flat out saying, "Look, this is aimed at younger kids," you are going to get a turn off from a lot of adults who are now just desperately waiting for promos.
It's not exactly a bad thing though to have a show purely aimed at kids though. In terms of the start, you've had there's some novels aimed at young kids. There's some other things that aimed at the young kids. It's not entirely a bad thing that it's not aimed at us, and you have to remember that it isn't aimed at us.
That's
that.
Probably something that my son would watch and be quite interested in, because it's all bright colours and everything like that. So
I think that's also why I'm kind of giving it a wider berth, is understanding that it isn't actually aimed at me; it's aimed at a younger audience.
Don't tell me cartoons aren't aimed at my 40-year-old nearly self. That's ridiculous.
Of course they are, but it's, you know what I mean though. It gives it that level of, okay, I'll give it a shot because you know it's not aimed at you. But we'll see. We will see.
That's why I'm interested. Will the kids like it?
Yeah.
Because when we were younger, Star Wars was the biggest kid thing around. Now there's Marvel, and there's a lot of animated Marvel shows.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued to see how this is. I mean, I'm not going to examine any kids. Dave's going to be our test subject for that. But I'm just intrigued to see how this goes down with kids. Merch sales will be a big thing because if the kids like it, they'll get it as toys. I'm very interested to see how they push this and if kids will like it. In today's era as well, where they can access so many of the kids' shows online. Whereas when we were younger, we had 5 channels and a little bit of Freeview. So it's
5 channels.
No. You say and a little bit of Freeview.
I didn't get Freeview until I was 11.
Yeah, no, I didn't get Freeview until I was 14.
It's more of I'm because of just naturally how everything is. I'm very intrigued to see how everything's going to settle with this, because nowadays, you know, if you turned over, you'd go from BBC One to ITV, from CITV to CBBC for those that obviously know what it is. Yeah. Whereas now there's everything. There's so many more. So it's going to be interesting to see how this comes out. And like I said, I will watch it. I will give it a chance. And if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm wrong. But at the minute, I'm struggling. I've got more chance of watching Force of Destiny knowing it's 2 minutes an episode.
But yes, I think that's kind of us. That, as you see, we've got these polarizing opinions. It's going to be really interesting to see. But
let us know in the comments.
We're also not going to give out death threats or anything like that as well. I think that's important.
We'll get onto that in a second. But yeah, let us know in the comments below or on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know what you think of it. I mean, these are our opinions. We've got 3 very different opinions here. That's one of the great things about this show is we do often have these different opinions. The one thing that unites us is the fact that we love Star Wars. But yeah, let us know down below what you think. We'll try and reply to every one of you. But yes, so the next bit of news is Kelly Marie Tran's spoken out for the first time about deleting her social media. I not had a chance to read the article, so I'm going to let George take the lead on this one.
Yes, so Kelly Marie Tran basically had a column on the New York Times, which went obviously on papers in America and is online. And it's the first time she's addressed the issues, the first time she's spoken in public since deleting her Instagram after all the racist abuse, all the abuse, everything from Post-Last Jedi. It's about a 5-10 minute read, and it is a very important read, and I can't really sum it up because it does it a disservice to what she's written. All I'm saying is that everyone needs to go, if you haven't read it already, you need to. She addresses the issues and what people were saying to her, how she's come over it, what she's struggled with life, what she's learning from this, and what her plans are for the future. I mean, I didn't know this, but her first name is not actually Kelly. You know, she signs off with her real life birth name and says, you know, this is for the future. I'm just beginning. So I think there's a real chance now where all these trolls that have come out going mad at her, I think over the next year or two, she might become a driving force for, especially with the Me Too movement, of all of that. This is the first time I've seen a social media debacle with a actor or actress that's actually escalated to the point of everyone is listening. And I think now she's got a real potential to, and she's It's very eloquently written. There's no ranting, there's no abuse, and there's nothing. She's done the most perfect reply anyone could have ever done. So I will say check that out. It's hard for me to sum it up because I don't want to just raise little points. But please, everyone, read that. One thing that people have been saying since is people wondering episode 9, will they change her credit to her birth name, and will she use that around Hollywood instead? Because that would be a big statement. But Kelly Marie Tran's into your New York Times, please check that out, give it a read. It's 5 minutes of your time. It's really not much, and it's worth it for what's happened. And it is a sad read as well. Obviously, what's been happening, and the thing is, it's not just her that gets this abuse. People get it on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if you're Asian, if you're black, if you're Mexican, Latino, anything. These people get abused, especially off the trolls online, and especially on things like Star Wars. There's a big thing about toxic fan bases. Star Wars is one of them. We were all right.
I was bullied every day from the time I started year 3 to when I left secondary school. So been there, done that, got a t-shirt. It's horrible. It really is. It's not nice in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't do you any. Doesn't help you in any way. It doesn't give you the best mindset in life. So I mean, I felt bad when I saw everything was going on. It's not fair, and it's worse when you are in a place in the public eye. Because you're under more scrutiny and you have more people, you have more attention. It's online, you have countless anonymous people. Of course, but it's the anonymity that gives them their power of saying what they want and knowing there's no consequence. And it is horrible.
I think it's now, in the time of social media that we have now, in the past, to get in touch with a celebrity to let them know what you thought about them back in the olden days. I mean, that's the olden days. Let's maybe take 10, 15 years ago. You would have to get some paper, get a pen, write a letter, find an address to send that to maybe a studio or to a fan thing to get a letter to them, and that they may never ever see. Now, in the world that we have Twitter, where you could go on, write a tweet, you ruin my life, I hate you in this film, send, and that goes directly to that celebrity. Like literally, they can put blocks on there, they can see that. That's an instant reaction. Where you never had that in the past. You couldn't do that. It was physically impossible to get to people that way. Now it can be you could post them up, and a few hours later you have hundreds of messages of probably bile being sent at you, and of course it's going to have an effect. When you read Kelly Marie Tran's article, and like George says, I absolutely recommend going out. She does talk about, how she would go out with her friends and order something in perfect English at a restaurant at a point and be told, oh, it's nice that you have an exchange student with you, and being ashamed. I mean, she literally stopped speaking her language just because of this. I mean, it's when it first all happened and all broke. I know Phil and I talked a lot about it. It's the worst side of social media. It's the worst side in it. It's the worst side of fandom, and I absolutely despise it.
And the thing is, with everything that's happened, without going into politics too much, with what leaders are allowing to be said and done around certain websites, let alone in office, without venturing into politics, the current world is just a disgrace. I saw Black Cake Klansman last week, which is a film I've been anticipating for a very long time.
I want to see that. I must admit.
It was incredible. And then, if anyone remembers what happened at Charlottesville last year, where there was a white supremacist rally, and then they decided to, get a car and drive into protesters that were protesting.
I remember that. Yeah.
They protested a white supremacist rally, and the president comes out and says they're bad people as well for standing up for human rights. It does make you think, and it makes you realize, it's still. I mean, that film set 40 years ago, and that has modern day stuff as well. It still happens on a daily basis. We hear this is someone in the public eye talking about their issues.
Yeah.
And it is sad, and you got to think. Ahmed Best, literally a month ago, said, I almost killed myself in 1999. Well, sorry, the year after. And back then, like what Dave said, to get in contact with someone,
that's good. Extreme effort.
Yeah, and imagine making an extreme effort to give reviews to an actor who was wearing a motion capture suit to play an amphibian creature in a film.
It's insane.
They're deluded. It's horrible, and it's the same. DC fans. Everyone seems to be getting death threats left, right, and centre from them.
It's fans in air quotes. It really is.
It's a very loud minority.
It's the people that hate for the whole pleasure of hating, and unfortunately, it destroys careers. It destroys people. I mean, we're going to get onto Hayden Christensen in a minute, and look what happened to him after episode 3. He just fell off the face of the earth because of the backlash. It's not fair, it's not fun, it doesn't do anyone any favors, it just hurts people, and it's these fans that are the ones. It is that minority that destroy it for the majority. And look what happened with Solo because of what happened with episode 8. It gets us very angry here once the Force. We never condoned it, we never partook in it, we stood up for it, we do not approve. And I think it's with all of us when we say, read that article. I haven't had a chance to read it fully, I know the other two have. I've had a little glimpse at it, but just have that opportunity to go through it and see the eloquent response, see the light that comes out of the dark. There's a lot to be said on it. And yeah, I mean, George, again, you pulled up the Hayden Christensen quote, and it is a big way of looking at it. Again, I'll let you kind of talk about that one.
Yeah, so doing a film called Little Italy. His first film in a long time. So he's in a vague bit of public eye, and basically just want to ask Anakin, what happened with you? Have you heard about this? And basically, he came out and said, trolls make the most noise. It's important to keep in mind that the majority of people do not feel the same way, which is true. Because it's like these. I know it's a horrible comparison. You see these restaurants. You look at a hotel, and you go on them online review websites, and they've always almost got lower ratings than what they have. Because if you like the hotel, you're not actually going to go out there and make the effort to tell everyone you liked it. If it's fine, you'll say it's fine.
Make that effort to complain, yeah.
Exactly, and it's like this. And Hayden Christensen has a lot of abuse. And when it was Celebration last year, watching that panel, he was so nervous to come out to the reaction of him being there, and he seemed so sort of overwhelmed that people liked him. It's horrible that he had to be nervous about people liking him when he's the main character of a trilogy. And they were good with him, but you got to sit there to wonder how many people in that room 10 years ago would have said something to him. And it's this trend that most people that hated the prequels now turn around and say they like the prequels, and now they hate these sequels. And their targeting's gone from Ahmed Best and Hayden Christensen to Kelly Marie Tran. And I mean, even Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley got bullied off Instagram because she was against gun laws. It's insane, and it's wrong. And that's an English person that we know over here that you don't use guns because, I mean, I'm not even getting into debate how ludicrous. This is the wrong channel for that. Chris James has a good point in the comments. Sad thing is that if they met her in person, they'd try and get a picture with her, and that's true.
Yeah,
of course they would. Or they'd try and get an autograph and sell it on eBay.
Yeah, it's one of those points. We'll leave it as that, but it's sad we have to talk about it in that light. But at least she's making the effort to show everyone it's not defeating her, and that's a good thing. And
she'll be back in episode 9. She
will be. I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, I haven't read Cobalt Squadron yet, but I have read more stuff in the comics, and Cobalt Squadron's quite cool. So interested to see more of that. But we might as well move on to the next bit of news, which is the Making Solo Star Wars Story book has been announced. It's coming out next April, and it's one that I'll definitely be getting to add to the collection. It looks amazing. Like a lot of the cross sections, a lot of the behind the scenes, a lot of the set photos. There's so much here that they're genuine. I really am looking forward to that book.
I haven't read the blurb. No, it's a bad issue because it looks great, and I'm very not confused as such, but Disney have been very strict on what's being shown from these films. Yeah. They famously cancelled the episode 7 making of book. They cancelled the Rogue One making of book, but they are going to publish the one about the film that had the most behind the scenes issues. I'm looking forward to it. It's just funny that I'm assuming they're going to wait to do a trilogy with 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what it is. The downside is it comes out at the same month as the 10 years Marvel Cinematic Universe making of book, including intuitions from James Gunn. So I wonder if they'll still be there. No, I'm very excited to read that. And if I don't have time, then I will do it after the Marvel one. But it's nice that we're getting some behind the scenes stuff because these except the Last Jedi documentary, the featurettes have been very limited on these films.
Yeah. I think extremely cool.
And for them to go all out for Solo, the one that has you can look at it as a joke and like why, but then look at it the other way that they want to talk to us about the filming, that actually it was alright, that the making of the film was alright. So I'm excited to see what's revealed and the process behind it all and whatnot. And that is around the time of Celebration, I guess, as well. So I wonder if there'll be an exclusive celebration edition or anything like that, or anything released early.
Yeah, George has already. We've already had a discussion that George is going to buy an extra suitcase. Will help pay for the extra suitcase, the extra luggage, because we're going to give so much money here. Bring us back all this stuff.
I'm going to come home and then I'm just going to see like YouTube the sign at like Gatwick Airport that just says Aldridge.
No, we'll just see a baggage collection. They go, this one's ours. Thank you very much.
No, I can't wait. I mean, I literally thought of it just then, but April is creeping up soon. I'm very excited to see what happens there and what does happen. But that book is something that it's the first one from the new era, so I think everyone's going to go for it. I love those types of books. This is so much more interesting to read like the behind the scenes stuff rather than abusive YouTube comments.
Ryan Johnson's photo album, the one that was discussed at Celebration about.
Well, didn't he say that first he would give it out to crew, he'd print them for crew, and then potentially an exhibition, or release as a book? Give it a couple more years. Yeah, I think it could happen.
I really like it too, because it's something that I would buy in an instant. It's something that,
and that's a real collector's type thing as well.
It is, but I've got the Art of the Last Jedi book, and that thing's outstanding.
Yeah.
Dave, any thoughts on the book?
It's actually something I'm really interested in as well, but it's... Sorry, totally distracted, sorry. Right, so yes, sorry about that. I'm totally distracted and I lost all train of thought and I was dealing with a slinky that was all tied up and I was trying to put it right. Sorry. But honestly, is the best policy. That's what I was doing. I was trying to unwrap a slinky that got wrapped up. Right, anyway. Oh dear. Yeah, the books I have all of the Rizla ones from the original trilogy. Rizla books, they're massive, proper tabletop coffee book, coffee table books that we have, really big, in depth, superb. Devastated that they pulled the episode 7 one. So I'm very interested to get this. I try and get as many of the books as I can as they come out, the art of and things like that. So I really enjoy having those.
Yeah, if you haven't got the art of the Last Jedi, get it because it is beautiful.
No, I've got the Jedi one. Yeah, I've got them. I've got those. I've got everything they've released so far in the books. But yeah, I can't wait to see this one. And is this the ILM one or is that a separate book?
ILM. They've created it as such. So
yeah. It's just it's Industrial Light and Magic, so you're going to see everything behind the scenes. You're really going to see the making of this movie from their perspective, so that's going to be excellent. So yeah, as I can't wait for that.
Indeed, I mean the next bit of news we have is something that annoys us greatly, but it's here and there. Disney's trying to buy the rights for the TV rights to Star Wars, but yeah, they're going to have a chance. Again, George brought this one up, so I'll let him take the lead.
Yeah, so when Disney took over, obviously the TV rights for Star Wars they sold to Time Warner for a couple of $100 million, and that included all future films. Within I think Netflix get them 6 months after the Blu-ray, and then the TV get it a year after release or something. Over in England, we didn't have domestic TV rights anymore, basically, because everything's on Sky. But we all buy the Blu-ray anyway, don't we, guys? So it's all right. Yes. Or if you're a traitor like Dave and buys it digitally.
Or if you're even more of a traitor like Dave and download it before it's even released.
I will always purchase the movie still. And I mean, yes, all right. We'll get that out of me as a piracy kind of guy. If it's Star Wars and there's an option to get that before it's available, yes, I will often do that. But I also have 4 copies of The Force Awakens. I have the original version. So you know what? Swings and roundabouts. Don't out me as a pirate. That's awful. Unless I'm Hondo.
I just said digital downloads.
Yeah, thank you very much, George.
Pirate, I say smuggler.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's moving on.
Yes, TV rights. So naturally, Disney sold the rights on an awful contract. Thought, you know what? We're never going to do a streaming service. A few moments later, we're doing a service. We're putting Star Wars TV shows on here. You know what we need as well as a TV show for Star Wars that Star Wars fans would want to see? We actually might need the rights back for our films. Especially when they're buying 20th Century Fox to get the rights back, or distribution rights at least. Yes, so apparently we're going to bid. I heard a figure. They were going to try and read into the contract, see if they can buy them out. And Time Warner said, no, we've got this contract. We're happy with the way the contract is. And the only thing that happens is that any film that comes out post-Solo, post-Episode 9, which at the minute is nothing, will be able to go on the streaming service. But Solo and Episode 9 and the current films are all tied up on this Time Warner TV. So they're gonna have to wait until 2024 to put the Star Wars films on the service.
Once episode 9's done, that's the last part of the deal. I think after that, everything is Disney's, and they'll own everything after that. But yeah, you're right. Until episode 9 will be the last thing that goes on Netflix as well. I believe that has to go on Netflix.
They're pulling everything off Netflix.
Yeah. But after that, everything Disney will be pulled to go straight on the streaming service, which would be great. Because have a one-stop shop for all the. They'll have to do something with Netflix. 'Cause obviously, the content they're going to lose. I mean, obviously, a lot of these sites now, Amazon Prime and Netflix, are all very much starting to deal with their own content, where they're trying to build stuff to have, which is wise because, again, like this, when they lose the rights to all the Disney stuff, all the Marvel stuff goes, all the Disney movies go, they lose a lot of content because of it. So,
well, in terms of the Marvel. Like Defenders and Luke Cage and Daredevil. I don't know if that's going to leave Netflix or not, but interesting to see what happens. However, yes, so getting Star Wars back, we don't think they have a shot at it. Wait till 2024 for them to get it on their own streaming service, which is hilarious. And then we've got 2 retirement announcements that we one we'd already knew about, and the other one was we knew was coming at some point. So Jeremy Bullock has announced his retirement from conventions. And today we've had the final retirement of David Prowse, and there's going to be no more private sightings. David Prowse's family announced on Facebook it was due to his declining health, and he's getting up there in age. And Jeremy Bullock again wants to enjoy his retirement, and it's all fair play to them. They didn't have to do the convention circuit for us, but they did. They've made fans happy around the world, and we just wish them the best in retirement.
I think Prowse is a big one. I mean, he announced it was probably middle of last year where he announced that he was no longer doing conventions.
Yeah,
it was all going to be private signings, but now they're saying it just causes him pain even doing signings of anything. So it's sad, but unfortunately, age will catch up with all of us, and it just has with these actors. They've been living that convention scene for what 40 years. Prowse certainly since A New Hope came out, he's been on everything. So. They've made a very good living on signing pictures and taking photographs, and well done to them. Well played for letting that live out so long to be able to have not a movie career that they maybe have wanted, and that's then give them their income for the rest of their life. It's great. So yeah, let them go off, let them retire. It's going to happen to more and more of those actors from those original movies, certainly before we start getting maybe the new breed of bit part actors who will then fill up the convention halls.
Yeah, it'll be. It's a shame, when the 2 guys that you go to a convention, those 2 are almost the guarantees on the big ones each year, and that you can't do them anything but wish them a happy retirement. They've never had to go out and sign something for anyone.
No, they did it. They made us happy. Yeah, so we wish them all the best in retirement.
And I think with those 2, they're 2 of the guys where they respect the fans as well. They're not there to act nasty, just get those autographs, get the money, and disappear. They like the conversations. They're good with people, and I think that's the outcome with especially the older actors. They understand the fans, and they're grateful for them. They just get some where they couldn't care less. They want that money, and then they're out. And I think that wraps up the news.
It does. We're on to Star Wars. Actually, Star Wars news forms, which is nice. We've had the Star Wars Icons Han Solo book announced. Again, it's one of those books that I'll be interested to read. It's not a great story. It's not something we asked for, but I'm interested to see. Again, George, I think you're the one that picked this one up.
Yeah, so there's a very weird book that's being announced, and basically these icons is going to be a new series of books where they basically just take a Star Wars icon and they just write a lot about him. It's not my type of book. It'd be great, I guess, if you're a kid and you want to learn more about certain characters and whatnot. It's going to go through their first on-screen appearance to TVs to comics and everything they've done in the medium of their character. And they've got a pretty snazzy front cover. The first image on the front cover is the very first shot of him in the film. The last image on the front cover is him just before he dies. Within the middle, everything else, a couple of comics, a couple of animated stuff, all of that. But it could be a good read when these come out. I guess we'll find out. But it seems like it'll be a new series they've got planned. Yeah,
and I'd want to get one if there's one on Luke, but with Han, I'm not particularly fussed. Yeah, I think that's it for Star Wars. There's not a huge amount at the moment. We've got the Beckett comic coming out. Actually, the Beckett comic is available now. The one shot for Beckett is out. Lando's Double or Nothing, that's finishing up. I think the last issue is out next week, if I remember correctly. Poe Dameron's last comic, yeah, that's coming out very soon. And then it's on to the Age of Resistance, Age of Rebellion, Age of the Republic. So you've got that all coming out later in the year. So there's a lot of the comics that some are ending, some are starting. So there's a lot of shifting there. But that's it for the actual books that is at the moment. And we've had Thrawn Alliance has come out the past couple of weeks as well. That's been out. But yeah, that's it for Star Wars.
Toy shelf.
Toy shelf. Yeah, George, let's let you break your bank here.
No, the breaking of banks is over. That's the old me. I'm new and refined, and I can't spend that kind of money anymore.
But so, he wants to. He desperately wants to. Ladies.
Not this one. This is awful. This could have been great. So, for those that haven't seen, Lego have announced a new Star Wars set. Betrayal at Cloud City. Spoiler alert. Let's give a bit of background. If anyone remembers, I did as a kid. There was this one Lego Star Wars set I always wanted, and it was Cloud City, and it was a couple of rooms. It was the episode 2 artwork where it was the blue box that, and apparently you don't know this as a kid, but growing up that became one of the most viable Star Wars sets. They'd never done it since. They hadn't, with all their remakes, hadn't touched it. They left Cloud City alone, which obviously naturally upped the price on eBay. And after a lot of time, they just randomly decided to announce it. It has 2,800 bricks, and it's not an Ultimate Collector series. It's under a new title, which I've forgotten. Sorry. And it's basically just a giant playset. If anyone's seen like Ewok Village, Battle of Hoth, it's like that, where there's basically loads of mini sets that merge together to make an. It's like the Death Star. The Death Star. I absolutely despise that set. It's just scenes from the film. It doesn't look like the Death Star. This is just scenes from Cloud City on a circle. And what makes it sickening is that it's 2,800 pieces, and it's £300. I bought Lego Hogwarts last week as my farewell to spending stupid money. At £350, you get 6,000 bricks, the second biggest Lego set ever. That's £50 more than an awful Cloud City playset, which you could probably build in half a day. It doesn't look like there's much to build. There's 18 minifigures, which is fine, but what a waste! What a rip-off. The day they announced the Cloud City would be if they did an Ultimate Collector Series actual best spin. If they could ever do that, I don't know, have like see-through bricks as a stand to hold it up. That's the Cloud City people want. This looks just awful. I laughed when I announced it, and everyone's been laughing at it because they did a mini set a couple of years ago, which was the Hannon Carbonite chamber. Yep. And that's on there, but smaller and looks worse. Yeah. And there's an awful mini Slave 1.
That was the first that I picked up when we had the image in there. It's just, it looks terrible. It just looks nothing like it.
I don't understand. Just people wanted Cloud City, but not that. I feel like Lego's just gone out and done the dirty on the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys on this. I don't like the set either. The minifigures are great, but you could probably build the set. You might even build it cheaper yourself by getting bricks. Yeah. Or previous bricks that you've got from other sets. It is, like you say, it seems much more like they've gone, we could do we could do a series of mini sets, or we could put them together in one big box. And it just feels like
it feels like the latter. It really does.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I don't particularly like it at all. It's there are better Lego sets out there for the same price that George said. You can get the Hogwarts set for £50 more. That just is crazy.
For the difference, and it's stunning as well. I've almost finished it. It's been a week.
Nice.
That's what they're dealing with, though, aren't they? That, how long is it going to take to do Cloud City? One sitting.
Yeah, it is crazy. I just don't. They've had this license for a long time, and they don't make very many missteps.
But this is a big one.
But this, I think, is certainly one, yeah.
It's a shame because there is some really good Star Wars stuff they haven't yet done. Like I said, they could have done UCS of
I
Cloud
want
City
them to release the ATTE. That's what I want. I want Turbo Tank.
80. Yeah, they did that. I remember that when I was up. But there's, like I said, there's so much potential they haven't touched, and they do these UCS ones each year. And this isn't even. It's just a giant place. And the thing is, I don't imagine any parents going to their kid. So, listen, do you want this? The kid goes, well, what is it? It's Cloud City. Is it? It just looks rubbish. It just looks rubbish, I'm afraid.
And should we go from one vile looking thing to another one?
Yes. So this popped up on my Facebook this morning. Hasbro have announced a exclusive Black Series Hoth, Leia, and Han Solo, not double pack, but like almost like a scene.
It's almost like the centerpiece one, but it's not quite.
Yeah, it's just that it's just a blue box with the two of them sunning opposite each other.
Yeah.
It's a scene from Empire Strikes Back where they're in the outside before Han leaves, where they're arguing she'd sooner kiss the Wookiee and he could arrange that. It's that scene there, but it's this blue see-through box, and it looks horrendous.
Yeah,
the design is
looks
awful.
Cheap. The new digital paint and the figures looks amazing, but the actual box looks cheap.
I mean, these are the two figures that if you saw them, you'd be like, "Well, I'll just wait until they're in standard boxes." And I'll get them that way.
For sure.
So at Comic Con, I was defeated last month, and I bought the San Diego Comic Con Rey and Ren, which I famously psyched off on here.
Yes.
And then when I saw it in person, my gosh, I don't know who took the pictures for the promotional images, but it was stunning, and also it's gigantic. I mean, it doesn't fit. Like if I was to break it down like that. I've never seen anything like it. It was so nice, and it's just a really nice thing to have on display in the box. I can understand that after seeing it, but with this one, I don't imagine many people wanting it to display. I think they are doing Leia naturally in the normal box, so I'm assuming they will with Han. Especially these double packs, they always end up doing them in individual boxes. But it's just it's £62 as well.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I'm not going to waste the money on it.
If you're going to spend £60 on anything, right, get a Wave 2 pre-order on Vintage Collection.
It's either that or I'm going to get the Vader on the Tantive 4 centerpiece, because that thing looks amazing. That's what I'd much rather spend the money on.
Black Series, that they are getting better with the new tech that Hasbro have done, and I think I covered this in my
box
solo.
And the presentation and this one that lets it down.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well now they're reaching a point where they know they've had to improve, and they're working on that, and especially with these exclusives. There was I think at San Diego, they invited a lot of UK retailers out to discuss exclusives and what the issues have been. They are working on improving their sort of, not customer service, but their availability across Europe, which is good. And they said, 2019, we can't even now, but 2019 will be when we get these changes done. I think that's important for the fans moving forward, and there's only ever one retailer that seems to get these exclusives, which is ID Toys, who can rip everyone off from them. Meanwhile, you've got it's a shame of that, because that could have been a really great thing. But if you're going to have a Han and Leia sort of scene together, why wouldn't it be the Millennium Falcon? What the corridor? Yeah, it's great in Hoth, but it's a corridor. There's not much detail to ice.
Yeah.
Some tubes on the wall, some pipes.
Well, the Minoc one was better.
Yes, and that had a nice presentation box as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not as good as the Rogue One assault tank, though, is it?
That is a thing of beauty.
We can't all be frivolous with our money, George. But
don't worry, I can't anymore.
No, you can't anymore. You can't rub it off faces anymore. Dave will find a way somehow, and I will just. No.
When I'm gone, when I'm moved, everyone's gonna raid my house for my poster. No.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've already got that plan in place, mate. It's fine. We'll time share. We've got an entire plan sorted. The next one we're gonna look at is the next one, this bounty box. I'm surprised these are still going. I have to admit, with the way Funko has been. The next one is going to be Cloud City themed, apparently, along with the Cloud City for Lego, and no one really asked for it.
So I thought Stoker's Bounty stopped, because I was told that the last ever one was Revenge of the Sith, which was awful.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. Yeah, I thought they'd finished, so I was shocked to see this on there.
And then Amazon, so because Funko is screwed, they've sold all the rights to these not bounty, that's a food, these sort of smugglers bounty type, they do Disney one, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, all of them. they've sold the rights to different companies. So apparently they were going to finish the contract with Star Wars on Amazon, but it won't ship to England as usual. But I don't know how it's going to work. Are they going to announce it early or something? But I don't really know why Cow City. Like, it's obvious what they're going to do. They're clearly going to do a Lando because they've only done one in terms of original trilogy Lando, which is apparently one of the most expensive ones to get. So obviously they'll just do a repackage.
Yep. They'll probably Lando and probably Hardened Carbonite, something like that. Yeah.
Or they do a moment. Chewie with C-3PO could be cool.
Yeah.
There's potential there, but
there's potential, and I'd like it more than what else they've revealed. I saw this on Facebook. I sent it to you guys, and I died inside when I saw it. It's the Christmas pops. We have to talk about them. Unfortunately, they're making Star Wars Christmas pops. Though we talked about it with Mulan.
They don't look as bad as the Marvel ones.
Terrible.
I think with Star Wars, it's a joke that they're literally rinsing the money for Christmas themed, and they're not even on like a Funko Christmas line. They're the official Star Wars line, and they're Christmas pops. And I think Lucasfilm did Christmas cards a couple of years ago, so they've taken the images and turned them into pops. Now I can understand that as a little like hint, hint, wink, wink thing, but they're doing them for Deadpool, for all of Marvel, which look rubbish, and they're clearly going to milk this Christmas line across the entirety of it. But the joke's on them when they go in stock, probably in February, knowing how they treat Europe.
Yeah,
they won't be out in time for Christmas over here.
No, Funko are shooting themselves in the foot so much, it's ridiculous.
The end is nigh.
On the upside, if you do want them, they will be in discount stores by the end of next year.
For next Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I
do like collection back at the end of next year for a £10.
I quite like my pop collection's been growing of late. I've been buying more because
Cad Bane.
Just said that.
Yes, we both got Cad Bane, thanks to George.
Because the like I said, the discount stores get a lot of these things in when they haven't sold, so they get back stock. So certainly at the minute, B&M's, which is a store here in the UK, a discount store, have pops for $4.99, and it's Rogue One. There's some really early ones, sort of really randomly placed around. Last Jedi are in there as well. There's a few different ones. So I've been able to pick up like about 10 pops in the last 2 weeks. My wife doesn't watch, it's okay. And I've been able to pick up those for like $4.99 a piece. So like save myself half the price of buying them when they were initially out or in their initial run. So I've picked up way more than I normally would, and only because I'm getting them cheaper. So I do quite like.
Are you practicing your excuse to your wife?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. I do quite like them that they based them on the Christmas cards that Lucasfilm sent out to their employees, but I don't like displaying Christmas stuff when it's not Christmas. So I couldn't have them in my pop wall because they would get out of place once the season was finished. So they would just get locked away somewhere. So I certainly, unfortunately, I won't purchase any of these.
I mean, I don't like Christmas anyway, so it's all right.
Humbug.
Always. My Christmas is May the 4th.
True.
No, I understand that it's a very risky plan, that they're probably anticipating a lot of sales in December, but they haven't thought the long way through. Unless they were all limited editions, then yeah, they'd get the money's worth, but they're really not now. And I think it reeks of desperation, like, there's no more Star Wars pops we can do over the next year. We've just done Clone Wars after years of demand. What do we do now? Christmas pops. Imagine being in that boardroom. Christmas pops.
Well, you talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel. Look at our next article.
Pop are now doing Pez, and it's going to start with Bosk and Grido. You know what? I mean, I know that I think Pez is bigger in America than England.
It's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a thing over here. It is over there, but
the reason we have eBay is because of Pez. It was two people that collected Pez that wanted a place to trade with other people that set up eBay. That's really the reason why we have eBay.
And now no one probably sells much Pez on there.
No.
No, if it created eBay, then fair play to Pez. But I think, we see him over here, get him in the odd discount shop, like £1-2, and I don't really get it. I don't get the hype. They're cool, they're fine, but they're a waste of room. These pop ones do look very nice, but again, if they've made a deal with Pez, it reeks of desperation that, you know what, we've gone from our own exclusive line of our own merchandise brands to we're now going to make merch for you. They're not really. They look nice. Bosk and Greer look nice. but I don't think they're gonna. I don't think Pez would let them make like 200 of them in 3 years.
Yeah,
it is really scraping the bottom of the barrel. It really is. Again, so another company releasing the licensed Lego around Star Wars trading cards, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
But they look great. Has anyone seen them?
No,
I've not seen the pictures yet. So I'm waiting to see what they're like. It's not. I don't know whether I'd get any of these, but it depends what the artwork's like.
So if anyone remembers, like, not Slam Attacks, what Force Attacks for the Star Wars ones, weren't they? You know, you had like the character in the middle, the cards, and then like a rating, 2 ratings at the bottom. They're kind of similar to that, but they're Star Wars Lego minifigures, and it's not like a picture of, say, like this. It's not like a picture of a minifigure. It's like an actual, someone's photoshopped the, like almost the artwork on the boxes when the minifigures are moving and stuff.
Yeah.
And they actually look alright. I can't get them, but when I saw it, I laughed, and then when I thought about it, you know what, like, kids are gonna love them.
Yeah.
Because I think what Lego do, if anyone's seen Sainsbury's this week or last year, they did, like, when you went shopping, they'd give out free Lego trading cards.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know if anyone remembers them, and they were like they were going for wildfire on eBay and stuff like that. Lego's probably started thinking, well, let's start our licenses of trading cards and see how much more money we can make, and then we'll charge you £300 for the Star Wars collector set and £100 for the other ones. But no, it was only a matter of time, I guess. Let's be honest.
Indeed, and let's look at our last bit of Toy Shop news, which is the Han Solo replicas on pre-order at Zavvi. These actually look quite nice. I have looked at them. I won't be getting them at the moment, but they do look quite nice. I might pick them up in the future.
Mine are pre-ordered, and so hopefully as soon as they're announced, I'll have those a few days after date, so they're all bought and paid for. So yes, I can't wait to get them. As soon as they were announced, they hinted that they were going to be releasing a replica, something from Star Wars, and it was all very obvious that was going to be the dice. It really was the hint that they were making. So yeah, I ordered them as soon as they were announced for pre-sale. Looking forward to having those bad boys hanging in my car.
There's no release date.
Not yet, no.
Sense. I mean, even if there is a release date, I will send it to you late.
I'm guessing it's going to be in line with the release of Solo on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's around that time.
I think that, and also, if anyone remembers at San Diego, there was a company that showed off loads of replica stuff they're doing. I believe these dice are from that replica company because they come in a nice presentation box and something far too suave for Zavvi.
Yeah, always did something similar for X-Wing. They've done out of steel gold anodized X-Wing dice, and they are really pretty. I might get something. Can't use the official tournaments because they're metal, they're not official FFG dice, but still they're pretty enough to add to the collection.
When someone gets in your car and sees them and they're just hanging there, if they don't know what they are, they just look like dice. But someone gets in your car and knows what they are, that it's just kind of cool. I love them. As soon as I had to have them.
I'm having a car soon, so it kind of ties in that. You know what? I'll be able to decorate that. Yeah, that soundtrack just like pump. He's got 6 CDs. It's like that scene of Fanboys. In the car, you can only listen to Rush. Yeah. Mine's like you can only listen. I'm just gonna have like episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Rogue One Solo. Like the rule is this is the rule. And then I'll just be driving to work, just, casually Imperial.
You'll see me now. You have a car and you'll live near me, so yeah.
Yes, I will.
And of course, our final bit, we'll go on to games. Right, so the new Battlefront 2 update went live today. I had the misfortune of testing it out. The gameplay, a bit smoother.
Nothing's changed, has it?
Nothing's really changed, except the fact that you've now got 2 Clone Wars skins, 2 Clone attachments. There are 40,000 credits each. 40,000. The moment the buy will get them free, it's technically paid 20k, but still, it's like 40,000 credits, which, to put it in realistic terms, if you're going to actually earn it by playing the game, you've got to play it for a good few weeks solid to get anywhere near that, and paying it, I can't remember what it's going to cost money, but it's stupid.
And the other thing I forgot to put down, they announced this week the prices for, so-called DLC is free. DLC on paper is technically free. However, you're going to have to pay 35,000 credits for Grievous, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Dooku. Grievous will come out in October. Obi-Wan's going to come out in November. They're not even coming out together.
Yep.
And then Anakin and Count Dooku just says winter.
Every time they go, here, we know you want something, they stab us in the back again.
And in the actual statement, it actually says, if you're new to the game, you won't have an issue getting these credits. And if you're not new to the game, you should already have them. The fact that was in the press release was the most insane thing I've ever read in my life, because they know everyone's about to moan. So they just thought, you know what, we might as well put it in instead.
I've lost any interest in Battlefront at all.
Yep.
Got no interest in any of this extra downloads, double content. I've got no interest in playing the game again. Until now, I'll wait for whatever the next Star Wars game is before I look at playing again. Oh, but on the upside, if you are on Xbox and you have a live subscription for 12 months, they release 4 games every month for free. You just download as part of your package. And on the 1st of September, Star Wars Lego The Clone Wars, so Star Wars Lego 3 is the free downloadable game. I know I saw that today. So
it's one of the best games I love. Yeah. That's the thing. They made so many great Star Wars games. This is not one of them. EA, you just screwed up far too many times. Lucasfilm, we implore you, please yank the license. Just please. And
I don't have an Xbox, so I'm stuffed.
Yeah. I got off Steam. You won't buy it on the PlayStation Store, so but yeah, that's it for us for tonight. We've been on for quite a while. I think we've got a Canteen Assault. It didn't have one before it came on out. I think we've thought of one in the time we've been on out. I think we've run our course, as it were, for this evening. I think you guys have got anything to add?
No, just that it's nice to be back, and thank you very much for being patient with us. I say we did have a nice month off between these shows, and as I say, that might happen to be the case as we maybe build up, as we have weeks where we don't have much news. If there's not really a lot where we can go through, there's not going to give us sort of at least half hour, 40-minute show, then we may just have a week where we say, right, we'll put this out. We'll try and get any content that does come up on the Facebook page as soon as it's available to get up on there for you guys. So, but yeah,
the bright side is the Resistance starts in 5 weeks.
Oh my word!
Yeah, it is. Yeah, October 7th. Yeah.
So we'll definitely be on for that. I mean, whenever the first show drops, we'll be on to talk about it, and that'll be fun. We will. Really, just again, thank you to everyone who's come on and watched and viewed and listened. So yes, thank you for being here, being part of the channel.
Indeed, George.
Thanks for everyone for your commenting tonight, chatting with us, letting us know it's good to be back on the channel. We've had a couple of weeks off. I'm looking forward to the next one. There will be a big announcement that will be made during the evening, but we will find out for sure. But in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back. We can only pray that there is a good amount of news to report with us, or else we are stuffed again and go on sabbatical. And thanks to Dave's lovely use of the Han Solo picture on Facebook. That absolutely made my day when I saw it.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. we all love that. Yes, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of the social medias. We're on there. Of course, you can download the show on iTunes or on SoundCloud. We're here on YouTube. We'll be live again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for putting up with us for having 2 weeks off. As I said, you would have had a 10-minute show otherwise. And we are 3 very busy men with lives. We do unfortunately have to leave.
I'm not busy.
Well, I'm shooting off after this to go somewhere for work. So yeah, it's one of those things that I'm putting off doing a 2-hour drive just to do this show. So if I don't love Star Wars, I don't know what this is. So with that in mind, we've been One is the Force, but the Force will be with you. Good night.